aspects, as you just heard. Firstly, as a local cycling campaigner, I'm a member of Cycle Islington, which is the local branch of the London Cycling Campaign. And as you can imagine, we're utterly devastated that Ardian, or Sam, as I want to call him, has been killed on the roads in our borough in Islington. And a bit more on that in a minute. Secondly, my perspective as a doctor, whenever I hear of someone being killed on their bicycle, it takes me back to my days when I worked in a major trauma centre, and I've been on that team, I've been the anaesthetist when we've received a cyclist with facial injuries into the hospital, and the working so hard, desperately trying to keep someone alive and having to step back and admit defeat. Those memories will stay with you forever. So that does make me think of this whenever I hear of another cyclist killed. But yeah, I want to slightly expand the thinking even further. And in my day-to-day job, I see it's not as visceral, it's more indolent, but more widespread is the effects of physical inactivity. And it turns out that at least 40% of Londoners don't get just the bare minimum levels of physical activity into their daily lives. And when you look at children, it's worse. It's 70% who aren't getting the minimum levels of activity. And this seems to be getting worse. And a lot of it's down to how our streets are. I try to say to my friends, to my patients, to my colleagues, just get on your bike. Why don't you ride to work? And I know a lot of people here do get on their bikes, but we're unusual. The vast majority of people will never, ever ride in conditions like this, like you see on this road. So that takes me to the third aspect as a local resident. I live in Finsbury Park, which is just the other end of this Nag's Head gyratory, and 3.5 years ago I heard that TfL had drawn up plans to rip out this gyratory to make it safer for walking and for cycling. I saw the plans, I was so excited, that's what made me join Cycle Islington. We went to meetings, we pushed, we begged for this to go ahead. We saw the council, TfL, other stakeholders, and yet the plans just seemed to get diluted along the way. The second set of plans came back and the protected tracks for cycling that they had put in had disappeared in a lot of places. We were to be riding alongside buses with delivery trucks, and we protested. And yet now the plans later on seem to disappear altogether. Haven't heard anything. I'd like to think they're on the back burner, but it seems more likely that they've been kicked into the long grass, as they say, and it's not good enough. So the last thing I wanted to say was there are people out there fighting for change, and add your voice. The more voices, the better, to put more pressure on the politicians. But I want to say directly to the mayor, to Will Norman, the Cycling and Walking Commissioner, to anyone with influence within TfL, and more locally to Richard Watts and Claudia Webb in Islington Council. You are the politicians, you have the power, you have the influence. It's your job to make the streets safer. It's your job to enable Londoners to be active and healthy. And please, don't backtrack. Don't resist change. Don't see plans diluted. Embrace change. We need you to improve the plans. We need you to push for change. We need you to be a voice like we are, crying for this to happen. And it's not good enough to wait for the next administration to do it. We need action, and we need it now.
Yeah.